As you're probably well aware, English localizers for years have taken advantage of their positions to butcher Japanese intellectual property, removing things that they deem offensive, like jokes that literally upset them so much that they remove it from the IP entirely, acting like they speak on behalf of the entire target market, which they obviously don't. It's a self-report into how egotistical, selfish, and overly sensitive these people are. And now we have a flip on the script, as you can see. Madam Savvy writing, they're complaining about racist chuds translating it. The context being a tweet that reads, I was actually hyped to read this, but the translation upset me so much, only to then find out the translation group is racist as heck. Now, like I always say, I just want accurate translations, and I still stand by that here. That said, for the sake of entertainment, it's pretty hilarious seeing the complete inverse of what we normally see happening here and the reactions to it. So let's take a look at what's going on specifically. Oh, by the way, the tweet that Madam Savvy's responding to, the ones complaining about this stuff, got over 16,000 likes for context. The series in question is Hanun Kyoai, Half is More. The description reading, being mixed race in Japan, like Kazumi, means facing daily trials of racism, microaggressions, and otherness. This is a journey of resilience, hope, and the search for coexistence. So how is the localization going for this one? Well, let's take a look here. Apparently, this is a real example. Apparently. For my little brother and I, our moms is Japanese and our pops is French and shit. Response reading, not to mention they're complaining about reading fan translations. You get what you pay for. And I say that as someone who also reads fan translations. Madam Savvy writing in response, yes, LMAO. It's just funny because we've all been subjected to these retards throwing trans flags all over fan translation stuff. But the one time some chuds have some fun, they lose it. The OP who was complaining about this, though, here's what they say, adding to their initial complaint post. It's really upsetting me even more because they're saying that it's a proper translation of their Japanese accent. When, like, how coinkydinky that other characters with accents in several other translation are just English. But oh, this one is different? F off. Let's take a look at another example here from a panel. The caption, it's pretty funny to be honest, and I wouldn't get mad at it, but at least they get to taste what localization is like for us when we have to put up with woke translators. So it says, sorry, I'm such a country bumpkin. I was acting like we were back home. Most people could probably tell at a glance and shit, but for my little brother and I, there's that one again. For my little brother and I, our mom's is Japanese and our pops is French, and in this society, dim MFs refer to us type of folks as half. Another example here. What was it again? There was one blackfish in a school of redfish, but the blackfish used his unique traits, and they all worked together to chase away the bad guy. And they lived happily ever after, something like that. When I was a little kid, I used to think that was a completely true and right story. Here's some more examples if you want to take a look and pause. I'm getting tired of reading like that though, so I'm not going to read this out loud anymore. But yeah, there's some more examples if you'd like to take a look. And now the responses are also filled with people using the same rhetoric that EN localizers and their defenders have used for years when people criticize their corruption. Reads, for example, but I heard artistic liberty was good and Japanese language is so complicated to translate. Marshall Beaumont going even further with the satire and sarcasm on this one, writing, you see, Japanese is an incredibly complex and nuanced language. Ultimately, there's no way to truly translate it into English. Not to mention, we know how to understand Japanese better than the Japanese themselves. Localization elevates base manga into true art. If you had media literacy, you'd understand that. So like I said, it's satirical, it's sarcastic, but this is the same rhetoric, like I just pointed out, that EN localizers and their defenders, their shills, often use. He actually pointed that out too, wrote, note, these are all things I've heard localization defenders say to normal people when manga and anime is made woke by localizers. And another take like this, the irony of reading an unofficial translation on an unofficial website without paying, and then complaining. Earlier, we took a look at the OP adding on to their rant. We got another satirical response here. There's actually a lot of satirical responses. I'm just showing you a few, but let's take a look at this one real quick. Japanese is not one-to-one English, so accurate translations are not always possible, and so some degree of interpretation and creativity is needed to make the final result fit the culture of the new target audience. If you don't like it, learn Japanese yourself. Again, the sort of stuff that the EN localization defenders always say to people rightfully criticizing their corrupt works. And a few more comedic examples here. Ahem, it's just small changes that add personality. Why do you care? Just learn Japanese, chud. They just added flavor to the original boring text. I don't see what the problem is. One-to-one translations are impossible, and localization is necessary to make dialogue feel natural. And then back to Madame Savvy once again. She responded to the OP writing, "Now if only your kind consistently called out this kind of thing, like when you do it, that would be great. But oh well, point and laugh." This user having no good response, just trying to get offended at how Madame Savvy said, quote unquote, "your kind," as if it's some sort of like racial implication, when Savvy is clearly talking about how leftists subvert intellectual property. But of course, this person lacks the critical thinking and media literacy to understand the point. Anyways, that's the latest. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.